Welcome to Senior Day at Vanderbilt, the last chance for these seniors to anchor down and one more chance to play at Vanderbilt Stadium. They'll say goodbye. There's Elijah Lipscomb, the outstanding wide receiver for the Doors, and for Keyshawn Vaughn, who's made his couple of years here very impactful. Standing in the way of the senior fun from Johnson City, East Tennessee State. You'll see this matchup right now. Welcome to Music City in Nashville. Vanderbilt hosting ETSU in the season finale for the Buccaneers out of the Southern Conference. Vandy, of course, still has to take on the Vols in Tennessee. With Ray Bentley, Dave Lamont, and big news out of Nashville earlier this week. In battle, head coach Derek Mason got a big vote of confidence from his athletic director. I want to make it very clear, Derek Mason will be our head football coach moving forward, said Malcolm Turner. Coach Mason has my full support, and I am committed to working with him to ensure our football program has the necessary resources and support to succeed. And it did seem to put a little steam in the stride of everybody around Vanderbilt. And for more on that, we go to the field and the third member of our team, Taylor Davis.
Well, for Derek Mason, he said this announcement regarding his future at Vanderbilt changed the demeanor throughout this program. He said in this day and age, there's a lot of outside noise, and it can be difficult for players to avoid that. But now that they know what to expect moving forward, he said they have had a peace of mind. He even said the team has had the best week of practice that they have had in a while. I asked him, what more does this program need? He says, we need consistency in leadership and more resources to improve our facilities. And guys, with a lot of young returning talent, they are very optimistic about the future of this program.
Taylor, thank you very much. All right, partner. So we heard that. We had a chance to speak with the coaches. I noticed a little pep in the step from everybody around Vandy. What do you think of the statement?
I like the statement. I like the move. I think that Derek Mason is the perfect guy for this program. He understands it. He gets it. And when he has a quarterback, they've been pretty good. A couple bowls in the last few seasons. So I think it's a good move.
Well, one of the things we expect today, and not just because we have a little bit of squirrely weather, overcast, and a little bit rainy from time to time, but we expect a game where we're going to see a lot of handoffs and a lot of running the football, and both teams are very well equipped.
Yeah, and we'll start with the visitors. The Bucks from ETSU have Quay Holmes, and he is a special guy. 255 yards on the ground last week in their victory over Mercer. He's a combo of raw power and vision. Doesn't have top-end breakaway speed, but he gets to his top speed in a big hurry. So he's got a great burst. Not great for the top end, but Dave, he's fast enough and tough enough to get it done. And then on the other side, you have Vanderbilt's running back Keyshawn Vaughn. He does have the top end speed. He tries to get the edge, and he's very good at it. He's got great vision and athleticism, but what I like most, he runs the ball extremely hard.
Yeah, this is going to be one where the running game will tell. We hear it every time, stop the run, and that's going to be the key emphasis as it always is. So we're going to see Quay Holmes, we just heard about him, returning kicks for ETSU as they will receive. Vanderbilt won the toss and deferred. Our weather, I mentioned squirrely, 45 degrees, cloudy, a bit breezy. It will get gusty into the mid-20s, and we've seen a little bit of light rain, and there is a small chance of rain this afternoon.
Great day for some ball.
Toe meets leather. Let's do it. Holmes from the 5-yard line will take a shot at it. And he will not get anywhere but the 20-yard line. Good special teams coverage for the Doors. We're going to see a couple of quarterbacks for the Bucks in this one, but the starter should be number 5 and will be number 5, Trey Mitchell, redshirt sophomore from Knoxville.
And Mitchell's a big kid, 6'4", stands in the pocket. He's got a strong arm, throws a lot of out-breaking routes. Not much of a running threat necessarily, but he does run this offense with aplomb.
Interesting to see the approach for ETSU. They just let it all hang out. This is their final game of the season. And they come out firing on first down, some soft coverage, and this is going to be a big play right out of the gate for Anthony Spagnoletti. Spagnoletti will get outside and pick up 25 yards.
And that shows you the strength right there of the arm of Trey Mitchell. Throwing it all the way across the field, along the sidelines. He threw a strike and hit Spagnoletti, and that's a nice way to start the ball game here if you're Randy Sanders and a Buccaneer fan.
Yeah, redshirt senior too. Spagnoletti getting his last shot in uniform.
Looks like he's going to come.
And they do bring the pressure. A little bit of room to run for the quarterback. A little flipper behind the intended receiver, Jacob Sailors. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Well, we've inaugurated a new feature called Raise Guys. Who'd you pick?
Well, we've got Quay Holmes, the guy we talked about. I'm calling him pitch count because I asked Coach Sanders, is there too many runs, too many carries that you can give him? He said, no, he is not on a pinch count. And then Ben Blackman is the center. He's a left-hander. You don't see that very often. We'll keep an eye on him. And then you have all day Tay Daly makes tons of plays all over the field. And then Andre Mintz. Watch 48 on the edge today. He'll be good. Well,
that time they go to Sailors on the handoff. The ball came out well after the play had been ruled down. So it's going to be 3rd down and long. The tackle made by Dio Adangbo, whose older brother, Dare I should say, also played at Vanderbilt. So here's a situation when you're the underdog is about the last thing you want. 3rd down and a dozen.
Not a good position for an offense to be in, and in particular an offense that likes to run the football. They don't spread it out a whole lot. This is not what they major in. However, they can be successful at this as well.
And they'll hand it off to Holmes, and Vandy read that play beautifully. You mentioned Mentz. He closed in very, very quickly. He had help from Kenny Hebert, and it'll be a punt situation for ETSU.
Yeah, and they've run this draw on film a bunch of times, and you see an up and under move by both outside rushers, and they meet at the ball carrier. A great call from Jason Tarver, the defensive coordinator for Vanderbilt.
So that'll bring out the freshman punter from Murfreesboro, not far from here, Garrett Taylor, kicking to a very dangerous return man in Justice Shelton Mosley, who is also wrapping up his college football career this month. A little bit of pressure, but the rugby punt takes care of that. And this will be Shelton Mosley going to take a shot at it. I mentioned he is a tremendous punt returner, and he takes that about 16 yards actually to the 37, and that'll bring out the former Ball State Cardinal, Riley Neal. In the meantime, unfortunately,
officials timeout for an injured player.
An ETSU player who has been shaken up.
And that's their linebacker, Zach Yancey, who they count on not only on special teams, but as a major run stopper in the middle of their defense.
Yancey, a junior from Alabama. 133 career tackles in his time.
Yeah, 62 this season, Dave. Second leading tackler for him. Not a good sign for the Bucks to lose a guy like that before he even gets to get on the field and play defense.
We are a step aside while the athletic training staff takes a look at Zach Yancey. Well, there you see Zach Yancey feels well enough to try to stay loose on the exercise bike. He was able to walk off with just a little bit of help, and we're happy to see that hopefully he'll be back into the game. Here is the grad transfer from Ball State in the Mid-American Conference, Riley Neal. It's been a year, Ray, where Vanderbilt has had to use, for a variety of reasons, a variety of quarterbacks.
Yeah, and their best one has been Riley Neal so far, but they did a reset on him this week. They went back and looked at some of his Ball State tape, had him watch some of that, some of his successful plays early in the season to try and figure out exactly what he's best at and most comfortable with. And then they patterned this week's game plan with all those things in mind. So we'll see if Riley Neal, if they're able to get advantage off of this reset that they put on him this week.
And we'll actually see a rare thing in college football, a snap from under the center.
Both these teams like to get under that center.
And a handoff to Vaughn, and Vaughn steps his way through the hole off the in between the right tackle and the right guard to pick up a solid 7. Stop made by Quinn Smith, who's in for the injured Karan DeLintz.
See the numbers for Riley Neal in his career at Ball State and what he's done this season here, and been a little bit of a drop-off, and it's been a problem that really the injury thing has kept him from gaining great consistency. He's flashed, he's shown some good stuff, but not consistent enough, and they feel like maybe they're asking him to do things he's not as comfortable as they'd like him to be with.
Stretch play here to Vaughn. He'll make a couple of men miss, and he has the first down. From the 48-yard line, Vandy will get a fresh set of downs. Vaughn, over 3,000 yards in his career between Illinois and Vanderbilt.
And he's come in here the last 2 years and really made this running game effective. And he's fun to watch. He's got a really good gas pedal. We've seen him try to bounce it out. That first run that he had. Now, he's got the power to stick it between the tackles, but he likes the edge.
Neal roll out and incomplete. Pass intended for the tight end, Jarrett Pinkney, one of the very best in the country. Now let's take a look at Ray's Guys Part 2.
Well, we got to do it for each side, so we'll start out with that running back, Keyshawn Vaughn, the bouncer. And I'm not talking about the guy that sits in front of the entrance at the bar. I'm talking about bouncing out to the edge and getting, although he can control things as a bouncer would. And then for the Buccaneers, Artavius Smith. He's the real deal. When we were talking with Jerry Godowski, the offensive coordinator for Vanderbilt, he said that guy's an SEC-type player, and I kind of agree. He's pretty good.
Zach Yancey is back in. He's standing at the top of your device right at the 50-yard line as the handoff is going to get swamped. A short gain, going to be 3rd down and 9 as the ETSU defense wasn't buying that. Led there by Austin Rowan, the senior from Knoxville. And you take a look at Yancey. And now Vanderbilt has an offensive lineman a bit shaken, Tyler Steen, who's out of Miami, and that remarkable Fort Lauderdale-based St. Thomas Aquinas high school football program. They were going to substitute for him, but that sub got waved off, so he's going to try to hang in there. The right tackle spot. On 3rd and 9, on the comeback, it's caught. This is going to be an interesting spot. Lipscomb was able to get there. He was well covered by Dylan Henderson.
They're going to move the chains on this one as a really nice route by Lipscomb of knowing where those chains were, where he had to get when this ball's delivered. Great throw to the outside. That's one of the things Riley Neal excels at, and he threw a strike there to his favorite receiver, Lipscomb.
38 catches on the year for the senior from New Orleans. 189 in his career. He is the SEC active leader.
And he's a really good player. They've got some good skill guys, and Lipscomb and Pinkney, the tight end, and then you look at Vaughn, the big three, if you will, and they just haven't had the quarterback to deliver the ball to him with all the injuries this year.
And watch the bounce outside that time by Keyshawn Vaughn to the edge. He'll go, and he'll step out of bounds right about where the first down marker is. Forced out by Artavius Smith, but still, that's going to be another Vanderbilt first down.
Yeah, you see why it was pretty easy for me to nickname him the bouncer as he bounces that one out to the edge. He's got such great acceleration and then the vision to see where that it's there or not, and then he'll just run past guys who think they have leverage. You don't. He's too fast for you.
Yeah. Offense has been a problem for the Commodores this year. Right now they have 3 first downs and 6 plays on this drive against their Southern Conference opponents.
Going under center again, it really disrupts a defense in this day and age, and I'll tell you why in a minute.
And the linebacker wasn't sure what he had to do. Pinkney's got a lot of room here inside the 10, and he'll score. .31 yards to cap off the drive. Pinkney's first touchdown of the season.
It's amazing that you say that here in their 11th ball game, Dave, but that's a fact. Now they run a bootleg, misdirection. They get that Buccaneer defense flowing the wrong way, and you get a nice block by Chris Pierce to clear the way for Pinkney to get into the end zone here on Senior Day.
7 plays, 63 yards, 3 minutes and 27 seconds for the Commodores, seeking just their 3rd win of the season.
He shed a couple of tacklers on his way in.
Vanderbilt on their opening possession after the defense forced ETSU to punt. And a hook up from Riley Neal to Jarrett Pinkney. And look at that. According to Todd McShay, this guy is and there are 3 NFL teams here today, the Jags, the Rams, and the Titans. Keeping an eye on Jarrett Pinkney.
And rightly so. He had an unbelievable year last year. The production is down this season, the numbers, but it's not been his fault. They haven't been able to get the ball to him consistently. But he's still playing every bit as well as you think he would. Pearson
Cook with a kickoff. And Holmes tried the last one, got out to the 20-yard line. This time he'll try it again from just inside the end zone. He needed a couple of blocks, and he did not get them. He is going to be stopped at the 14.
Let's go take a look back at that touchdown, and we'll show you. Here's Pinckney right here, and he's going to block initially. And this is part of the whole bootleg deal where they're selling run that way, and then they come back the other way. No one home, no one left to cover Pinckney, and then you get some half-hearted tackle attempts and a nice block, and boom, you're in the end zone.
And again, only for the first time this year, Vanderbilt's offensive numbers are considerably down from what they were a year ago, and Vandy was a bowl team. Now into the game at quarterback is Tyler Riddell, and Riddell will hand off to Holmes, and he'll get shoved out of bounds after a short gain. Second down and long coming up.
Riddell, the true freshman, Dave, has really flashed in the limited time. This is his fourth game. They really like his moxie, and he's got a good, strong arm, but he adds a running piece to this offense as well, which they don't have as much when Trey Mitchell's in the ballgame.
And again, we were told to expect to see both quarterbacks today, so this isn't anything against Mitchell's performance on the opening drive, and we don't believe he's injured.
Riddell under center, which is not where he's most comfortable.
Well, at this point, nothing is comfortable for the Buccaneers on the offensive end as they're having a very hard time. Odangbo in there again for the Doors. It's going to be 3rd down and 9.
And I was talking about that being under center. What happens when people are in the gun, the back's going to be on one side or the other. And you set your fronts by where that back is because there's different ways he'll run the football. When the quarterback's under center and that tailback's 8 yards back there, there's nowhere for that defense to set things, and they got to kind of recalibrate how they're going to set their front.
So the second time already in this quarter, East Tennessee State has taken on 3rd down and long.
See how narrow their splits are. That usually means crossing routes or outbreaking routes.
Stunt from the Vandy line, in trouble, gets it off. And that's going to be Holmes, and you see his ability to make people miss. That'll be a 1st down for ETSU.
Great job by the young quarterback, Riddell, of finding his check down. Holmes stays in, blocks, and then sneaks out late. He's the safety valve. Riddell knows right where he is, drops it to him, no coverage, and a 1st down for the Buccaneers. Well executed.
High snaps, tunnel screen, bobbled incomplete. Keith Coffey was a little jittery on that. We'll take a look at the head coach, Randy Sanders, in his 2nd year. This is a baby of a program. They had the program for a while. It was removed, and then they brought it back with the help of, among other people, Phil Fulmer. And they brought it back in 2014. Sanders is the 2nd coach after Carl Torbush. And he had won in contention for the SoCon title a year ago. This year, not quite so much. And again, Vanderbilt been very difficult to find running lanes for Holmes.
Davion Davis, backup defensive tackle, got in there and made that first hit. Commodores will roll guys through up front and keep them fresh. They're rolling in a fresh group right now. Their pass rushing group in this 3rd and 8.
And that includes one of Ray's guys, Andre Mentz, number 48.
Odds are good. Mentz is going to be coming off an edge, trying to create mayhem. Here he is right down here.
Riddell in some trouble. He's got some room if he wants to take it. And instead, he throws the football, and it is well defended that time by Alan George and knocked away. McAllister came in and put the pressure and flushed Riddell out of the pocket.
Good coverage by George on a scramble type situation. You got to lock on your man tight, and you got to try to have one eye on him and another on the quarterback, and it was perfectly executed by Alan George.
I'll be curious to see what Randy Sanders does to play quarterback next series. You've used two quarterbacks in 2 series. You've established is this a pattern? I'd be really curious to see the next time ETSU gets the ball what the plan is. This is a foul ball of a punt.
Foul being the key word.
And it's going to be, they're still marking this off. It's going to be in Bucks territory. Will he finish before we go to break? He did. 45-yard line when we return. Well, it's not quite that extreme here, but ETSU's had a tough time moving the football in their first 2 possessions, 43 total yards. They do have a couple of first downs, and they are also trailing at 7-0. With Taylor Davis and Ray Bentley, Dave Lamont, and our SEC Network crew, we thank you for joining us. It is a little bit of a grim day here weather-wise in Music City, but Nashville trying to get a lot going on here musically. Concerts every night. Play action fake. Riley Neal under pressure, throws a little high for Pinckney. In the meantime, Neal took 2 defenders, shoving him down the back of the 40-yard line at no flag.
Yeah, linebacker Colton Lake's one of the guys that was in on the quarterback hit, but I like it that they took a shot down the field here, and I'm trying to figure out here how Vanderbilt's going to approach this one. Do you play base and lay back and just we're better and bigger, faster, stronger, we'll beat you that way? Or are you going to be aggressive and say, you know what, we're going to jam it down your throat because we can? I see more jamming going on here early on.
Vaughn on the handoff, and he is stuffed. Great job there. Charge led by 54, Colton Lakes, among others for the Bucks. And
Madua-Fakwa also in there, Dave, and they talked about jamming here, right there. They got jammed up at the line. Madua-Fakwa in first, and then Lakes around the edge, and they double team him for a tackle for loss, putting the doors behind the sticks now.
Yeah, 3rd down and a dozen coming up here. 5 minutes just about remaining in this opening quarter. Vanderbilt scored on their first drive.
Lipscomb down at the bottom here. That's the guy they like.
Pressure. And stepping right into the sack. Neal stepped up and into Jalen Porter, who picks up sack number 3.5 on the year.
And Porter is kind of one of their pass rushing specials. He's listed as an outside linebacker. He lined up as a nose tackle in this package right there, and he got some good penetration.
They lose 6. It's 4th and 18. We're going to take a look at Harrison Smith, a sophomore from Franklin, Tennessee, and Malik McGew. Well, we had a 10-yard punt earlier that was sliced. This one was hooked.
That cameraman right in the back couldn't get out of the way.
Is that one of ours?
I hope not.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter what. But fortunately, that person is not at all injured. And where are they going to mark that ball? At the 27-yard line for ETSU, which actually is their best starting field position of the day after a 26-yard punt. At 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on SEC Network, Week 13 of the college football season rolls on with Tennessee and Mizzou in our SEC Saturday night matchup. The SEC Network alternate channel will have Abilene Christian in Stark Vegas taking on Mississippi State.
This ETSU rushing attack, Dave, that had 255 yards last week alone from Quay Holmes. 5 carries, 0 yards thus far.
So Trey Mitchell is back in after the first series, and he set the second series for Rydell. Pressure, he gets rid of it, caught, and that's going to be Spaglianetti again, and he'll pick up about 8 to the 35-yard line, so he's got a couple of catches early in the day.
And Mitchell, he's just a redshirt freshman, but he's played a lot more this season than has Tyler Riddell, and I see him as a kind of a more mature in terms of understanding what they want out of this offense. Rydell may be more of a playmaker, but Mitchell can keep you on course.
Sailor's the tailback this time. Toss play to him. Got a couple of blockers. Gets to the edge. He'll have a first down. Forced out of bounds by Jerkins. And a nice run by Sailors to pick up a dozen.
Yeah, they pulled Tavon Matthews, the big guard, to lead the way out front. And he really didn't have much to do out there. There was not a whole lot of Commodore bodies on the edge, and they're going to come back to that play, I guarantee it.
Now an I formation. And following the fullback, and a pretty good block up in there, and getting into Commodore's territory for the first time as Sailors. Afamoe in there on the stop for the Commodores.
But you know what? The Buccaneers will take that, Dave. A nice 3-4 yard gain on first down. It keeps them on schedule. It opens up the playbook. You can do a lot of different things here in a second and 6.
And now this straight handoff to the Juwan Martin, the fullback, and Martin will get it to 3rd down and 1. That play goes back to about the 150th, the first year of college football.
Yeah, they saw that one back then. But I like this because they've already run toss, so they're going to give kind of a toss fake with the back. Sailors heading out that way. That gives a linebacker taking a false step, and it opens things up in the middle. And Martin don't need a whole lot of room. He'll just power his way through the gap.
That's just his 5th carry on the year now, bringing number 1, Quay Holmes, at the tailback spot as they stay under center. Will the quarterback keep it here on 3rd and a full yard to go, maybe a little more? Nope, they give it to their man Holmes, and he will find a way. I think he's got the first down. He disappeared and came out the other side somehow, and they do move the chains.
Yeah, good tough inside running. Talking about Quay Holmes, he doesn't have that top-end breakaway speed, but he gets to his top speed in a hurry, and he's very good between the tackles. I count that towards his vision. If there's a little bit of a seam, a soft spot, he'll mush up into it.
So back to the sideline he goes. He's been hot lately, too, Holmes.
Set a school record the last 3 consecutive games in rush yards.
Yeah, 255 yards last week versus Mercer in a win. Plenty of time. He'll take the underneath route, and although it was well covered by Dimitri Moore, the catch was made by Dawson Pearson, and that's his first catch this season.
Pearson just runs a little choice route. It was man-to-man coverage, and he just used his big body to ward off the linebacker, Dimitri Moore, and a nice timing from the throw from Mitchell.
30 seconds left, and we'll have to get one more play off.
It's kind of the part of the field, Dave, where they like to take some shots, throw the ball downfield.
And Mitchell instead hands to Sailors, and you can hear Pat popping everywhere as he gets a couple to the 37-yard line. Going to set up 3rd down and about 5 for this ETSU team that looked a little shaky early, but seems to have gotten their legs against the Commodores. And Vanderbilt looking for win number 3. ETSU trying to close out their season on what would be an enormous high.
That is the end of the first quarter.
It's been mostly Vanderbilt here early on as the pageantry of college football comes to you on this lovely afternoon here in Nashville.
Second-year head coach Randy Sanders during that quarter break talking with his quarterback, and he has talked with a lot of quarterbacks and some really good ones right during his career.
Yeah, he's dealt with Peyton Manning, Jameis Winston, and others, and I really am impressed with the scheme, and he understands what his personnel is and what their capabilities are, and he puts them in the best situations to succeed. And I think they're rebuilding that program there at East Tennessee State, and they've got the right man to do it. I really think they're going to be an up-and-comer in the FCS division.
8th play of the drive about to begin. They're in Vanderbilt territory for the first time this afternoon after having to punt twice. And quite honestly, at 3rd down and 4, this may well be 2-down territory.
Yeah, they're going to, I believe, it's depending on what happens here, but they're going to give themselves 2 shots at the first down.
Quick drop, tunnel screen. This time it's going to be caught by Coffey. He's going to escape. Coffey flipped. at the 21-yard line by D.C. Williams. That's 16 and a first down.
Really nice execution on this Indiana screen as Coffee comes inside and the defensive line's rushing upfield, creating that gap in there where he catches the ball, and then he's on the run, has the speed to shake a couple of tacklers. This is really nice execution, and they have to be successful on this type of play today to loosen up this Vandy defense.
Now right up the gut and dragging tacklers for 5 yards. Second down and 5. One more time, Odengbo, a junior from Irving, Texas, near Dallas in there on the stop, but that's a solid 5.
Yeah, I like the footwork of Jacob Sailors coming through the middle of the line. He didn't really cross his feet up. He shuffled through, and they've started to run the ball. I had mentioned earlier, first 5 carries, 0 yards. On this drive, 6 carries for 30 yards. They're cranking up the running game.
And again, they go back to that I formation with Martin in the front of it as the fullback.
Changing the play at the line here.
Gotta hurry, though. Boy, solid hit right in there by Afamoe. And Hebert in there as well. Third down and a couple coming up.
This is how ETSU likes to play ball. They run it twice, and now they're in a 3rd and 2 in the red zone. They've got all kinds of options as far as what they want to do against this defense. This has really been a nice drive for Coach Sanders, who does call the plays.
The 11th play is about to happen. Sailors got through one tackle. Did he get it? Because you could see that Dimitri Moore just swallowed him up. And the officials saying 4th down. They're a yard short. Now what do? You
get some points.
Right.
Make sure you don't leave that 0 up there all day. You had a nice drive. Get yourself something for it, and that's exactly what they're going to try to do. And they've got a really good kicker in Tyler Keltner, a true freshman.
Yeah, 14 out of 17. He's made all of his point-after touchdowns. The quarterback, Trey Mitchell, will stay in the hold.
Coach was telling us he trusts him for 55 on a game-winning type field goal. Big leg for Keltner.
What? Vanderbilt's got a chance here. And it's actually Mitchell who made the tackle as the ball was picked up by Hebert.
It looked like the kick came low and came out real low. Let's take a peek here, and you can see, yeah, that was almost hit his own man. That's not a good kick. No points.
Take a look at Cameron Tidd, the redshirt junior who ended up blocking that, and he's going to feel that when he wakes up because that kick was extremely low. And that is the second one that Keltner has had blocked this year. So it's a 12-play, 61-yard drive that burned over 7 minutes of clock, but still a 0 for ETSU.
And Tidd, he's going to have a welt on his bicep for making that block. And it was a blind block. He didn't really even get to see the ball, just stuck the arm up, and fortune smiled.
To the ground on the stretch. And look at this, ETSU saw that coming from Keyshawn Vaughn. He's going to lose back to the 25-yard line. Colton Lakes, 54, in there again to lead the charge. And Zach Yancey, who was shaken up earlier, also emerging from the pile.
I like watching Colton Lakes play some linebacker. Now, he's not the most physical guy necessarily, but he will take the back door all day long, which is what he did right there. And what that means is that the blocker will try to get in front of you. You give him a little head fake and then sneak in behind him and still have an angle to make the play. That's the back door, and it was open that time for Colton Lakes.
Firing on 2nd and 11, caught at the 33, an immediate 2-point takedown on Pinckney. He's a little frustrated, but Donovan Manuel had him wrapped up solidly. So you got 3rd down coming up, and waiting for them to finish putting the marker down. Ray, looks like it's going to be 3rd and about 7.
Yeah, I like Manuel too, and watching him on tape a little bit. He's extremely active as a linebacker. A little undersized at 6'1", just 200 pounds, but that leads to his quickness, which we saw in that coverage.
So the defense for the Buccaneers, coordinated by Billy Taylor, a little feisty since the opening drive.
Got a blitz look going.
And Neal's got a lot of room to run. He's got a first down and plenty more. He's going to head to the sidelines, and he better, because Art Smith was all over him. And a great run of 27 yards by Riley Neal.
And Donovan Manuel, who we were just talking about, here he is. He's got spy, so that means he's got quarterback. If that quarterback comes out, he's got to go get him. He spent too much time on a blocker, and Riley Neal, the crafty veteran, he saw the seam and just took off.
Artavius Smith went for the swipe for the football. Now, Neal was already out of bounds, but might as well try to intimidate him a little bit, right?
And that's what Smith does, all those little things.
Motion out Marlowe. Now they hand the ball to the redshirt freshman, Javion Marlowe. And he's going to be chased out of bounds at about the 39-yard line into the Vanderbilt bench. And Quinn Smith, freshman from Cincinnati, among the tacklers there for ETSU. So they pick up a solid 5 there.
Yeah, and I give Zach Yancey a lot of credit on that one too, Dave. He may not have made the tackle, but he strung that play out and forced it to go to the sidelines, allowing his man, Quinn Smith, to come up and make the play. So that's good team defense right there by the Bucs.
Looking left all the way, fires, and the catch is made by Cam Johnson. There's a penalty marker down, and I believe that's the first time we've seen one of those today. Here we are at the 9:07 mark of the second quarter, and we're going to bring in for the first time today James Carter, our referee.
Ineligible player downfield. Offense, number 80. He was covered up on the play. 5-yard penalty, second down.
All right, Ray, tell everybody what they mean by covered up on the play.
Well, that means he was lined up at what he thought was the end position, but there was someone else wider than him on the line of scrimmage who was the actual end, making him ineligible. So it really wasn't necessarily his mistake. It could have been made by the receiver on the edge who lined up on the line when maybe he shouldn't have been. It's one of those two guys, let's put it that way.
All right, so it's second down and 10, so that first down wiped out. This will be Vaughn. I'll tell you what, ETSU, of course they know he's coming, but they know where he's going. And that time, Blake Bockrath, who's a fine football player, in there on the stop.
I love Blake Bockrath and the way he plays. He's an old school type outside linebacker. You see him down at the bottom here, and he just closes down, shows some speed, and Vanderbilt's going to have to start blocking that backside edge because they can't get away with just letting Bockrath have his way running off the edge.
Third down and 10. You see Bockrath's numbers on the year. He's a redshirt junior from Loveland, Ohio.
He's an old school type outside linebacker to me. You see him getting down in that catcher stance with the hands up. He's ready to play ball.
He charges in trying to get it Riley Neal, and Neal's in some trouble. He drops it off here to Vaughn. Vaughn makes one miss, stayed in bounds, and is close to the first down. Yancey finally got him. The ball is marked at the 36, so he's going to be 2 yards short, and a decision for Derek Mason.
Boy, Quinn Smith almost had him there, but you just can't get Vaughn down with a hand or arm tackle, and he did a nice job of staying in bounds, too, along the sideline.
So they bring in a larger package, several tight ends coming into the game, and they're going to go for it on fourth down and 2. And wide open is the tight end Pinckney. Inside the 20 and down inside the 15, out of bounds and around the 13-yard line. First down.
I love it. That's an aggressive call by Jerry Godowski, the first-year offensive coordinator. 4th and 2. Everyone in the world thinks they're going to try to just pound it down the throat. He goes play action, hits his big senior tight end in the flat for a nice pickup and almost a 6. Nobody near him on the edge.
22 yards down. They mark him out at the 14. So in the red zone are the Doors. Handoff. Boy, look at Vaughn. That'll be a first down and goal coming up as Artavius Smith saved a touchdown for the moment.
Another nice play call, nice setup and scheme here. They overloaded the right side of the line, brought the receiver inside, Lipscomb as an extra blocker, and then they go to the backside where the defense isn't expecting it, and a nice cut and vision by Vaughn to find the hole.
8 carries, 33 yards for the redshirt senior. So he's now over 3,100 yards in his career. The 9th play of the drive is happening right now. Spin, and he's in, standing up. Touchdown number 8 on the season for Keyshawn Vaughn, the redshirt senior from right here in Nashville. And they make that drive pay off. 9 plays, 86 yards in 6 minutes. And on to the PAT is Riley Gay.
A lot of good play calls on that one, and execution.
Good job there by the holder Harrison Smith on a low snap.
Here's how it happened, getting down there, the 4th yard gamble, throw it out to Pinckney, your big tight end. He'll get you in that vicinity and then finish it off with another one of the big 3, Keyshawn Vaughn, slamming to the house.
Treats all around, and of course there's always a treat to pay attention 9 Eastern, 8 Central when we bring you on Monday Thinking Out Loud, presented by Regions Bank with Greg McElroy, Marcus Spears, and Alyssa Lang found her way into that photograph, so it's a good show. They'll break down the weekend on the gridiron and talk about the hottest topics for the coming week on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. With Ray Bentley and Taylor Davis, Dave Lamont, and the SEC Network crew here on a cold, overcast day in Nashville. Vanderbilt just an impressive drive and throwing a little more shade toward their Johnson City opponents from ETSU.
Vandy had 2 explosive plays of 20-plus yards on that drive, 3 so far for the afternoon. There's been a dearth of those type plays from this offense throughout the year.
And the breeze has kicked in a bit. As you see, we need a holder for this kickoff, and this thing is racked. And it will be a touchback, and we'll bring you the answer to the question, who's the quarterback this time on this series for ETSU? We'll find out in a moment. Well, we talked about the big 3 for Vanderbilt, Ray, and so far we're starting to see their impact in this first half.
Without a doubt, 2 of them had scored as Pinckney caught this one. He also caught another pass on a 4th down to get him in position for this Vaughn touchdown. And Lipscomb is the only guy of the big 3 who hasn't found the end zone yet. And I say yet because I guarantee you they're going to try to get him in there this afternoon.
So the answer is Tyler Rydell. And of course the question is, Alex, who is the quarterback on this series for ETSU?
For 500, please.
So there he is. So this is the 4th series for the Bucks, and both quarterbacks have now played 2 series each. Trey Mitchell and now Rydell starting his 2nd series. They'll begin with a handoff, and a little bit of an opening was there, but man, Vandy's defense shut that down in a hurry. And you can count the black and gold jerseys all around the ball carrier. Maybe a yard, 2nd down and 9.
I saw the same thing you did, Dave. It looked like that thing was open, but it was just outside a little bit, and Holmes wasn't able to get there. An arm came out of the pile and latched onto his leg.
I think that might have been Andre Mentz, number 48, who led that parade of Commodores tacklers, 2nd and 9. Been a no-frills game on the offensive end for both sides. They both run it well. Rydell just fell down. Nothing else to say. Score 1 for the Turf Monster.
He had Caleb bearing down on him, backup senior linebacker who Coach Jason Tarver told us that he's a kid that's going to change the world someday. An incredible academic scholar. is Caleb Peart, and a pretty good football player on top of it.
What's interesting is he has this incredible academic record, and his nickname is Captain Violence.
Yeah, right.
That's football for you, folks.
It all makes sense to me.
It's 3rd down and 20. Right now. Well, the two nearest football players to that were number 71, Tavon Matthews, and number 72, Eddie Gajardo. They're offensive linemen.
Yeah, he was trying to find Quay Holmes on a middle screen, and Holmes got tangled up and was nowhere in the vicinity of where Rydell thought he would be, so he just dumped it into the middle.
In fact, I got to be honest, I was waiting for an eligible man downfield flag on that.
Yeah, Holmes was actually hiding behind one of those big linemen,
Yes,
and nobody could see him, including us.
No. So that's the first Vanderbilt defense 3 and out forced there. Well, then I guess we'll wait and see what Randy Sanders does for the 5th Buccaneers possession. Punt nearly blocked. They've already had a field goal block. We do have penalty markers down as the punter was contacted. Shelton Mosley talked about his skills as a punt returner. He's just going to run out of room. Now, is this running into, or is it the personal foul variety? It was, I'll be honest, from here, it wasn't much of a shot on the punter, Garrett Taylor, so we'll take a look at it and see what we think the officials may do.
Decent snap.
And that's Daly coming in.
Man, you can't hit that leg.
No, not when it's in the air like that.
No. But that's a tough one.
Running into the kicker.
Good call.
Receiving team. That penalty is declined. 1st down, Vanderbilt.
I think that's the proper call.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It was big difference between running into and roughing the kicker. Vanderbilt will have great field position when we return to Nashville. So 1st down and 10 for Vanderbilt, 39-yard line.
Empty formation, first time today we've seen that.
Vaughn flashing in motion, looking in that direction. Vaughn trying to get a block off, and that did not work. Lipscomb caught it. Lakes got the tackle, but that was also busted up by Jeremy Lewis as we go to the field and Taylor Davis.
Well, guys, after that last Vanderbilt scoring drive, quarterback Riley Neal came off the field all smiles. He went up to his offensive coordinator, Jerry Godowski, and said, man, that was fun. And Coach Godowski emphasized, this is what we were telling you. Simplify. Find the aspects of your game that you're most comfortable with and play with that confidence, guys. We're seeing that more from him today.
And it begs a question, though, Taylor. What about the first 10 weeks of the season?
Well, he missed a couple of games after being injured in the South Carolina game, but you're right. Neal in a little bit of trouble, and he will look out there. Boy, he got out of bounds just in time. Austin Rowan and others chasing him out, and there were some Buccaneers with evil intent looking at Riley Neal.
And I'm surprised that a fifth-year quarterback graduate transfer didn't just throw that out of bounds early and save himself all that trouble and stress. And not only that, 5 yards as well.
Yeah, it's going to be 3rd down and 17. And going back to what Taylor just said, if he doesn't convert this first down, I bet he is not going to be very happy coming out.
Yeah, I want to see that sideline reunion there.
With pressure from the edge, he gets that pass off to Lipscomb, and ETSU running into themselves, but they get the stop short of the first down. There was a big collision between a couple of white jerseys, and it ended up with Vanderbilt looking at 4th down. Jalen Porter will get credit for the stop.
They hit Lipscomb on what I call China route, just running underneath all the coverage, running everybody off, and then trying to drop it down to him and give him a chance to run after the catch, which he did have. And you had a lot of friendly fire, guys knocking each other around, trying to make the tackle, but Vanderbilt ends up short and will bring out the punt team.
But you know what? The good news, if you're ETSU, Guys are running to the ball.
Oh, yeah, this defense on film day, they're impressive in that regard. Maybe not as physically endowed as everybody else you see, but these guys hustle.
This is a high kick, a lot of juice on this. McGee will make the catch at the 22-yard line. Well, this is number 5 possession-wise for ETSU. Does that mean the quarterback will be number 5? McGee, Wednesday at 7 Eastern, 6 Central on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Somebody talks about Southern culture and football better than Marty and McGee on the SEC Network.
Who has it better than those guys?
I'm
trying to find out. Maybe Jim Harbaugh.
I don't know about today, though. Would they not
find
lose it?
out.
Yeah, 14-7. Indiana was ahead last I looked.
Well, it's definitely Marty and McGee then.
And it's Mitchell. So maybe it's odd evens. Odd-numbered possessions, it's Mitchell. Even-numbered possessions, it's Rydell.
You know, it's going to be interesting down the road as both of these guys are freshmen. Rydell, the true freshman. Mitchell, the redshirt freshman.
Mitchell's 4 of 5, 52 yards.
In a lot of sense, they are auditioning for next year.
Well, that audition of Sailors was cut short by the Vandy defense. A gain of 2 there, 2nd down and 8, and we're going to get a timeout called here, and why not if you're Vanderbilt?
Absolutely.
First charge timeout of the half.
And by Vanderbilt. So around the SEC, we know that Alabama was taking care of business against Western Carolina and did so, and Auburn also against Samford. So the Iron Bowl set up. Georgia and A&M going at it, and a low-scoring game between the hedges. Kentucky, as mentioned earlier, his defense was dominating UT Martin, of course, tonight on ESPN. Number 1 LSU against Arkansas on the SEC Network. Our big Saturday game will be Tennessee and Missouri, and on the alternate channel, Mississippi State and Abilene Christian.
I'm anxious and interested to see what happens Tennessee at Missouri there. A couple of 5-5 teams battling for a postseason berth and into the bowl season, if you will, and then they just are evenly matched up, and that's going to be a good ball game, a hard hitter, if you will.
And Mitchell taking a shot into traffic, trying to get it to Spagnoletti. He is really disappointed with the official.
I am too, a little bit. There was definitely contact before the ball got there, and it disrupted Spagnoletti's opportunity to get the ball. Watch, he gets hit from behind right there.
Wow.
I mean, that's clearly there before the ball.
Yeah, that was contact made without question.
Gil Barksdale, senior, playing on this field for his last time, got away with one.
3rd down and 8, and that, of course, does Vanderbilt a solid because that stops the clock with 1:56 to go. They got 2 breaks on that one. Little room to run, and Mitchell's going to take off, and he'll have a 1st down.
How about that? A little burst from Trey Mitchell, who, when I watched him on film, I brought out the sundial, the timing. That time, he blew it away.
That's just, now we'll see who's going to start calling timeouts. Mitchell fires too high, and well covered for Nate Adkins, the tight end.
Yeah, he had to throw that one high. He threw that away because Alan George had sloughed off from his corner position. He was getting ready to pick that thing, and had Mitchell thrown it a strike, that might have been going the other way.
2nd and 10. $1:29 remaining. Vanderbilt with 2 timeouts. The Buccaneers with 3. Walker Whitemeyer, a late substitution for Vandy. They only had 10 guys on the field, so he got out there. Mitchell's in deep, deep trouble. He knew it, and he's down.
They can't stop Odangbo. Dio Odangbo with the pressure. We've seen him get in that backfield and make plays so far, and this one he just burst through.
Yeah. Kenny Hebert is going to get him around the ankles, and it's going to be 4th down and forever. Watch Hebert there, 21, and then Odangbo at the top.
Yeah, it looked like a blown protection. I think the right guard, Eddie Gajardo, thought that the center, Ben Blackman, was going to take over on Odangbo and did not.
One correction, it is third down. I think I said fourth down. It's third down and 21 coming up.
Man, what do you call on a 3rd and 21? We'll find out.
I would a draw play to Holmes.
You got to flip your play sheet over and find something on the back in the fine print.
Well, the other thing you got to think about is Vanderbilt's going to burn another timeout here. If you throw an incompletion, you save them a timeout. I'm putting the ball in the hands of Holmes and just letting him see if he can get 5-6 yards and make Vanderbilt stop the clock.
I love Randy Sanders over there having a laugh with his quarterback, and we had several laughs with him when we talked to him on our conference call. And I really like his approach to the game. It's extremely intelligent. It's lighthearted, but when it's time to grind, he'll grind. So he's almost like a good dad, if you know what I mean.
I found him to be realistic.
Right.
He knows what he has. He knows what he can do, and then he tries to have everybody execute that vision. Almost another delay of game penalty, and they do go underneath, and it's dropped. So Sailors was the intended receiver. That play wasn't going to go very far. Vandy saves a timeout, and they may get good field position out of this. Don't forget, at one point today, Taylor had a 10-yard punt.
Give Kenny Hebert, the credit on that one for the pass breakup, and he's been all over the field today.
Yes, he picked up the blocked field goal and ran that for about 10 yards. He
helped
has
out
picked
on
up
that
a half a
sack
sack.
a minute ago.
Yeah, I think he'll share that sack with Odangbo.
Oh, he'll fight for it for sure.
He'll be bringing some cookies to the statisticians.
Right. Smart move.
This punt's got a weird-looking wobble to it, and it's going to check up and go the other way, so it's going to be down in ETSU territory. So Vandy has a minute 13, one timeout, and they should have the football at the ETSU 48-yard line. No, they're going to mark it in midfield, right over the V, a 27-yard punt.
This is a good test for this Vandy offense in this 2-minute drill situation here. If they get this drive and get some scoring, Dave, I think that's going to really give them a huge boost. If ETSU is able to stop them here, we still got us a ball game.
Pressure right in the face of, and he gets rid of it. Vaughn will catch it. He'll have a first down if it holds up. There's a flag down at the 45-yard line in Commodore's territory. Smith on the stop. Let's see if they're backing this one up.
Offense, number 54, holding. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, there's your answer. Tyler Steen, who was shaken up a little bit earlier, was hit with that one. His dad played at LSU.
And his grandfather is a war hero. Threw himself on a grenade in Vietnam and saved a bunch of members of his platoon. They put a huge, his troop got together and raised money, and they put a huge monument in the cemetery in Johnson City. And it's really a heartwarming story, although tragic for the family.
Well, first down and 20, and you can see the clock now come down to about 45 by the time or less. The snap gets off. Plenty of time. That throw is tipped, and there you see Artavius Smith playing the safety position to perfection.
He really did, because what they tried to do, it was a cover too, and there's a little hole between where the corner is and where the safety comes over. John Gruden calls it the turkey hole. Tried to jam it in there, but Artavius Smith is just too good. He timed it out. I'm surprised he didn't pick that thing.
I think that's what he was upset about at first. He kept tapping his chest like, my bad, my bad. No, that was rather good. And it's going to put Vanderbilt now in a tougher spot, 2nd and 20 with 33 seconds remaining.
Shows you the mindset of Smith, though. He wants it all. He's a great story. Thought about quitting football last year.
This may not be his last football game, though, and that pass is going to be way off the mark.
I think that was an intentional overthrow because Quinn Smith was all over Justice Shelton Mosley. That wouldn't have been good had it been an accurate throw.
27 seconds remaining, 3rd down and 20. ETSU's had one good opportunity on the offensive end and had a field goal block. Defensively, they have given up a couple of touchdown drives, but they have been like a burr in the saddle
Tell you what I'd do here. I'd take this guy Lipscomb and I'd go deep and I'd throw it down there. You got nothing to lose. If you don't get it, you punt it away. There's very little time left.
Instead, it'll be a handoff to Vaughn, and Vaughn will add to his rushing total, but he'll pick up 5. And the half could end on that play. Let's see if anybody stops the clock or not. We have whistles, so yes, the clock will be stopped with 13 seconds remaining.
First charge time out of the half. Game clock operator, please put 17 seconds back on the game clock.
So we'll add 4 seconds to there. Well, we tell you that coming up at halftime, you can watch the live performance of the Spirit of Gold on SEC Network Plus. So you can start that stream right now on the ESPN app.
I like the timeout call by Coach Sanders, force him to punt. I don't know whether he'll go after it, which I would, or set up yourself a return, because you've got a decent returner back there as well.
So the temperature at kickoff we showed you is 48 degrees. What those fans there were enduring, and a lot of these folks with the blankets, the Angry Birds blanket there, that's a cute one, is it's windy. And we saw that the holder was needed for a kickoff the last time Vanderbilt scored. So that 48 knock a few degrees off of how that really feels.
We need to snag one of them blankets.
I think they fight us for him.
Speaking of a blanket, this ETSU defense has thrown a blanket on Vandy's offense the last 2 drives, 3 and outs.
Well, Vanderbilt has had a struggle this season with offense. So the difference between what they did last year and what they did this year is dramatic. Wait, they sent a lot of people.
Yeah, they went after it.
But Harrison Smith ripped this, and that is great coverage. And with 10 seconds, make it 9 seconds remaining after that 41-yard punt, which honestly seemed longer than 41 yards. ETSU. So who comes out to take the knee?
Yeah, well, I would say I would put Mitchell out to take the knee.
You are correct.
He's better at taking it under center with the left-handed snapper, and that's one of the things you see with young quarterbacks, Dave. All through high school, Tyler Rydell was in the shotgun. He had to learn how to take a snap when he got to college, which blows my mind.
So they'll take the knee, and I tell you what, for East Tennessee State, offensively they've had a tough time. Vanderbilt's defense has been rugged, but their defense has played very well. And that's why we stand here at 14-0 as we go to halftime here on Senior Day at Vanderbilt Stadium.
He said on 3rd down there are too many busted assignments. He wants to see that cleaned up. And as for both of his quarterbacks, Trey Mitchell, he said that guy is playing well. He's smart, and you can see his football IQ coming out. He said expect to see both of them play in the second half.
And right there we have a burst in their spawn. Can they catch him from behind? And the answer is no. 75 yards. Keyshawn Vaughn.
That's the kind of play they're used to seeing from Vaughn. That's the way you start a half right there. Just 75 yards out the gate. Just a stretch play. It's just perfectly blocked. You had a hat on the hat, and then Vaughn uses his explosiveness to bust by the second level and take it 75 and out the door.
Jeremy Lewis made the effort, but just could not catch up to the redshirt senior from Nashville. And a one-play, 75-yard drive for Keyshawn Vaughn. And this was so beautifully blocked.
And it's just breakaway speed after he gets through a perfectly blocked hole, and he high-stepped at the end. He felt his heel get clipped, and he kicked out of it.
Well, right about the time Taylor had said they're bigger, faster, stronger than us, in the words of Coach Sanders for ETSU, they went out and proved it right there with that 75-yard explosive play.
That was really well blocked. The stretch play to the weak side, a hat for a hat, and the thing that it was impressive that it was blocked that way. But how about the gas pedal for Keyshawn Vaughn? He saw that thing open up and he hit it hard. And all of a sudden, he's over 100.
Well, what I was about to say to Taylor's point before that play blew up was that ETSU does not even have 100 total yards. Only 96 total yards, and their inability to run the ball 26 yards on the ground. And the ball blown over. So, again, it's been a swirling wind kind of day and a little bit of a challenge for both sides' kicking games. We even had to have a holder, and we're going to get a holder here.
That was the fourth explosive play from this Commodore offense, Dave, and that one is about as explosive as you can get coming out the other end.
There'll be a touchback. You mentioned that he can be incredibly explosive.
Well, it's the speed. I mean, he's a blazer, and that's what allows him to make those stretch runs and the huge runs. Also, the bounce out stuff, the cutback stuff, and it makes him a real effective receiver, and it makes him very attractive at the next level. You got a guy that can burn and make big plays like that, running away from people. A lot of teams kind of like that kind of guy.
And the ability to catch in the backfield. You look at the guy like James White for the New England Patriots and what he does for that team as primarily a pass catcher and a safety valve for Tom Brady. You know, is that something that's possible for Vaughn?
Without a doubt. Although he could be a featured guy.
Yes, no doubt. So Quay Holmes on the carry, and ETSU comes out of the gate with a first down. Gain of 11 there for Holmes, who was held a quiet first half for him. Of course, he was kind of in a bit of a timeshare with Jacob Sailors. He wasn't quite the feature back. Holmes came in here third in the Southern Conference in rushing, and 82 carries his last 3 games for 541 yards.
Give Vanderbilt credit because they've shut him down pretty much. Prior to that run, he only had 4 yards.
Play action fake to him. He stays in the block. That pass is going to be caught, and maybe they would have been better off not catching it. As Juwan Martin made the grab. And then Caleb Peart held him up, and Braden DeVault Smith came in to finish him off. That's going to be a loss. Second down and about 12. That's one of those plays they might have been better off throwing that one away.
Yeah. They did try to get the big fullback involved, and he had a key run earlier in the first half.
6 tackles for a loss by the Commodore defense, coordinated by Jason Tarver,
who spoke French to us.
A little bit?
Yeah, he was an impressive guy, a lot of energy. He gave us some movie lessons.
Oh, look out here. Right up the gut. Nobody blocked Reitmeyer, and he set that whole thing up. That's 7 tackles for a loss, and Kenny Hebert finished it off. 3 sacks for Vandy.
And Reitmeyer is a guy you do want to have him put a hat on, because if you don't, he's going to bust up your play. And even if you do, I've seen him make plays. And Hebert's been all over the field today, too.
He's had a very, very nice day for the Commodores defense. The redshirt junior out of New Orleans, and he has been fighting injuries most of the year.
He looks healthy today.
3rd down, 19. They go to Holmes on the ground. He's had to run a long way, and down he goes. As you can see, number 41, Elijah McAllister, only a redshirt freshman. And Ray, one of the things that Jason Tarver was energetic about is how many players he's got coming back next year.
Pretty much everybody but Caleb Peart. So, and he talked glowingly about the redshirt freshman McAllister and what he brings to the table. And you saw a flash of it right there.
Garrett Taylor's had a little bit of a tough day. Had a punt of 10 and also one of 27. And again, windy conditions. And this one, he got a nice little leg into that one. That's going to check up at the 31-yard line. Vanderbilt last 3 plays defensively, 3 tackles for a loss, including a sack. And the last time they had the football, this happened. 75 yards of Keyshawn Vaughn to the end zone. There is Vanderbilt defensive coordinator Jason Tarver, who, Ray, is a movie buff, but it's not like he's talked much to us about The Godfather or The Irishman or anything out there. No, he has a little bit of a different taste.
He likes the good movies. And they do movie learning, and the deal from Semi-Pro, relax. There's no bear in the building. And they do that to calm everyone down. If you remember the funny scene, the lights go out and Will Ferrell's going after the bear. Well, there's no bear in the building. The 51st dates. It's the simple thing, hey, today is what matters. And, of course, if you have the malady she had, that's the only day that matters if you don't remember the previous day. And then Of course, Groundhog's Day, building those relationships. It's not about you, it's about everybody around you, and Bill Murray learned that, and that's what they're trying to teach here at Vanderbilt.
5 more yards for Keyshawn Vaughn, maybe 6 actually. Now they're going to give him 5 to the 36. It'll be 2nd down and 5 coming up. And those posters are actually pictures are in some of the conference rooms and at the Vanderbilt football facility. And that's an area where they are talking about spending more money and pledging to make the facilities better than they are. Not that they're terrible, they aren't. But that was all part of what happened earlier this week when it was announced that Derek Mason would be returning next season as Vanderbilt's head coach. And Vaughn made one miss and took himself out of the play wisely at the 45, maybe the 46-yard line. It came out on Tuesday as Derek Mason looking for a little bit of I think he wants a better spot. No, he wants somebody out of the game is what he wants. But Derek Mason was announced on Tuesday by the athletic director, Malcolm Taylor, that Mason would return next year. This has been a down year for Vanderbilt. Everybody in the college football world knows that they're not making a bowl game this year. They've only had 2 wins. Their offensive numbers are way down. These are all facts. But the other fact is that he will be given a chance to rise with this program as they start to work on improving their facilities. Now, they did not provide us any specifics of what they're going to do to the facilities as Brooks gets the ball and he is going to be stopped. There's a flag down a couple of yards behind the play. So it's going to be either 2nd and long or maybe 1st and longer.
And I think it's no secret, Dave, that their facilities are nice, but they lag behind what you see across the country. And even for similar type institutions, Wake Forest has a new building. Stanford has redone theirs.
Holding. Offense number 72. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. 1st down.
And those are the type of institutions that have higher academic entry standards, and it kind of limits your recruiting to some extent. And so there has to be other things to lure guys in here and make, as Derek Mason said, their experience unique. Yeah. And that's what they're trying to build here in Vanderbilt.
And with more on what Malcolm Turner had to say, what do you have for us there, Taylor?
Well, guys, when I had the opportunity to speak with Coach Mason about that this week, I went back to that post-game interview that went viral after the Missouri game. He really showcased his passion for the job, saying he believes he is built for this. And he said that just comes from the emotion. He said you have to be in it to understand it. So he really feels like he's the one to make it happen. He said these players should never feel like they achieved in spite of anything. They should be given the same resources as all the other schools they compete against in the SEC.
Now, we offered Malcolm Turner a chance to speak with Taylor today, and it was initially scheduled to do so. He declined this morning. He does have a busy day today with senior day and a lot going on, so hopefully he'll have more to say on all of that another time on the SEC Network.
Right, and they're in the phase of developing this plan going forward, so it'll be a little time before they put it together, but I can't wait to see what they come up with.
Long throw by Riley Neal just about to midfield and a fine catch. That is such a long throw and a great grab there by Lipscomb.
And you talk about doing things that Riley does well. This is one of them right here. Out-breaking routes to the sidelines from the far hash, and he'll throw a rocket at him. And that's what he does extremely well, is those type of throws.
Gain of 12, sets up 3rd down and 6. And of course, we got to watch Riley Neal.
The ball's rolling away from him.
Yeah, my goodness.
Wind is kicking up.
We got to watch Riley Neal at Ball State play a few MAC games. And then a grad transfer over here to Vanderbilt. Out of Yorktown, Indiana. Yeah, the breeze is clearly picking up. We can feel it. We're way high up.
I'm going to use the word gusty.
That's fair. Underneath, 1st down, and a lot more. Pinckney, they got to do a better job of tackling him with that. They finally took 2 of them to get him down, and they finally were able to spin him around. Lewis being one of them, number 13. That'll be a 1st down for the Doors after a 13-yard pickup.
Don't tell Riley Neal it's gusty. He just threw a gusty buster right there on the outside pass.
Who are you going to call? Gust Buster.
Gusty Buster.
Yep.
Call Riley Neal.
So here's another movie quote for you.
Yeah.
Sort of a movie.
Does it tie into a life lesson?
And it also gets Bill Murray back onto the broadcast, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, can't go wrong with that. That was a really nicely executed play to convert a 3rd and long.
Neal 9 of 13 for 104. And he'll keep it this time.
Not sure that he wanted to.
Nope, but nothing bad happened, and he got a couple.
And he kind of, either he opened up wrong or Vaughn went the wrong way. And I saw Vaughn make a gesture afterwards like it might have been his fault.
But the thing is, he kept his cool and got positive yards out of it.
It's not the first time that's happened to him in his career. I'm sure of that.
No. Pressure. Look out! You saw Blake Backrath hurtling, trying to get at Riley Neal.
And Neal knew it was coming. That's why he changed the play to try to throw behind the blitz, because that's where it was coming from. But Backrath gets in his path. He just goes up over top of Vaughn and makes Riley Neal misfire on the throw.
3rd down and 8.
Redshirt junior, he'll be back for a senior season next year. And look out in the Southern Conference, because Blake Backrath is coming back.
Urgent clapping because they were about to get a delay of game penalty as Neal was hit as he throws. And is that pass going to be ruled complete? It is. Cam Johnson with the defender Jeremy Lewis in his hip pocket all over him, and it's going to be a 1st down for Vanderbilt.
Johnson, another one of the youngsters on this Vanderbilt team that they are excited about his future, and he just uses his body extremely well. He catches a lot of routes with his back to the defender, and he boxes him out and creates room just for himself. I bet he was a whale of a rebounder back in his hoop days.
It's a great job. 9th play of the drive coming up. That's a tremendous catch with the defender right there.
Boxed out.
Neal looking deep, goes underneath instead. Going to be incomplete. 2nd and 10 next. 6:31 to go in this 3rd quarter.
Nice eye discipline by the Buccaneer defense, taking away that bootleg. We saw a boot early go for a touchdown on him, but Zach Yancey had Keyshawn Vaughn all wrapped up.
Again fires, another long throw, catch made, and a great tackle in the open field. Kept that play from being a serious gain. Good job by Quinn Smith on the Lipscomb catch. It's going to be 3rd down.
But that's another wheelhouse throw for Riley Neal. An outbreaking route. They tighten down the formation to create room on the edge, and then they use the speed of Lipscomb to get some separation, and then Vaughn can throw those dimes.
And sometimes I wonder, Ray, if our viewers understand how long those throws are from the middle. They should, if they get a chance to stand on a football field someday, stand in the middle and try to throw a football to the sidelines. It's not easy if you're not a college quarterback.
It's about a 27, 28-yard throw.
And that's almost intercepted by M.J. Woods as the deflection sets up 4th down and 5.
Dylan Henderson with the initial coverage. He forces the tip right there. And you're right, Woods was just a little bit out of position to make a kind of what I would call a freebie type interception on a batted tip ball.
So field goal team is out. That's Riley Gay, the senior from Naperville, Illinois, from 40 yards out. Harrison Smith, the holder. And Vandy needs one more.
Short one man on there, but they got him in.
Yeah, that's a big man who came out there, too. And that looks good. So Vanderbilt puts up 3 more for Derek Mason's Commodores. 5:38 to go, 3rd quarter. Final home game for a group of seniors, nearly 30 strong for the Vanderbilt Commodores. Of course, Elijah Lipscomb, final home game. What a memorable day it's already been for Keyshawn Vaughn with a 75-yard touchdown run. And an emotional one as well. And for more on that, we go to the field and Taylor Davis.
Yeah, guys, along with the recognition of this senior class was the recognition of Randy and Noelle Cockrell, the parents of former Vanderbilt tight end Turnell Cockrell, who passed away last year after a year-long battle with melanoma. His teammate, roommate, best friend, Cody Markell, wore his jersey during the senior day festivities. And I asked Coach Mason about the impact of this tragedy. He said that's been one of the toughest things he has ever gone through as a head coach. He said Turner always understood what it meant to be a Vanderbilt man, and he lived that out until the day he passed. Guys, they feel he is certainly here with his teammates, and tonight would have been his senior night as well. So the parents really appreciative to have this moment for their former son tonight.
Thank you, Taylor, very much, and certainly we are best wishes to the Cockrell family on what had to be a very difficult day of both celebration and mourning for someone who died way too young.
If you haven't lost somebody to cancer, then you probably haven't lived that long, and it touches us all, and hopefully someday we can take care of that.
And straight ahead with Jacob Sailors. And Taylor, tell us a little bit more about the aftermath of this and how Vanderbilt is trying to get something positive out of this tragedy.
Absolutely, guys. Well, as I mentioned, his former best friend, Cody Markell, is actually the founder and executive director of Turner's Heroes, which is a superhero-themed nonprofit focusing on supporting pediatric patients and cancer research across the country. They put on several events throughout different hospitals in the city to raise funds for pediatric cancer awareness and research. Guys, it's such a wonderful foundation, and I actually spoke with Turner's mom, Noelle Cockrell. She said that foundation is such a beautiful way to honor their son, and she's so appreciative of Cody and really this entire university. She said they have been such a source of support the past year. She's incredibly grateful for everything Vanderbilt has done for them in the past year.
Well, thank you very much, Taylor Davis, with that information. And there you see the best buds.
Definitely tugs at the heartstrings.
We look as we return to football, 3rd and 9, just under 5 minutes left in this game with Vanderbilt ahead 24-0, third quarter against Southern Conference representative East Tennessee State. And that's a fling into traffic and batted away. Trying to get it to Spagnoletti, and it looked as if Deshaun Jerkins got a hand on that.
He did. He showed up late. He missed last week's game. He's the safety coming over the top, and he got in there just in time to break it up. And this ETSU offense in the second half has been shut down. -4 yards.
So back for more is Garrett Taylor, the freshman punter. And in Justice Shelton Mosley, you've got one of the best punt returners in all of college football. Not only was he good here at Vanderbilt, he was great at Harvard as well, and he's still going. Oh, he's going to be overwhelmed finally. At Harvard, before he transferred to Vanderbilt, Justice Shelton Mosley had 3 punt returns for touchdowns, one of 91 and one of 89 yards. Of course, when you're talking about Harvard football today, that's not what they're talking about. At 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on SEC Network. Week 13 of the college football season rolls on with Tennessee and Missouri in our SEC Saturday night matchup. The SEC Network alternate channel will have Abilene Christian taking on Mississippi State. Of course, this is also streaming live on the ESPN app. With Ray Bentley and Taylor Davis, Dave Lamont, spotter Dave Lemon, statistician Phil DeMont, Mullen, and our ESPN SEC Network crew here on a not very warm day in Nashville. They were talking about it being in the mid-50s during the game. It has not sniffed the mid-50s today.
No, I got it at about 42 according to my knees.
which the ones replaced or the ones that you got at birth?
Those.
And Vanderbilt goes to the trick play with Shelton Mosley on the reverse. And we'll pick up about 4. We have not seen a lot of what Reese Davis calls trickeration in this game today from either side.
It hasn't really been necessary, and I don't think – I know ETSU has a few of those plays, but they haven't been in a position to run them. As you see, the yards by half and the domination of Vanderbilt here in this third quarter.
Yeah, -3 for the Buccaneers.
75 of that 137 all came on one Keyshawn Vaughn run.
First play from scrimmage of this half. And Vaughn again. And if that tackle isn't made by Artavius Smith, he's still running, and we're talking about him possibly scoring a touchdown. We have an ETSU player shaken up at the 45-yard line.
Officials timeout for an injured player.
Saw the little shoulder fake that opened up. It allowed him to split a couple of tacklers, and if Artavius Smith wasn't such a solid tackler, Vaughn might still be running.
We're going to step aside for 60 seconds while they tend to the injured Buccaneer. That's Donovan Manuel. Keyshawn Vaughn having a big afternoon in his final home game. 2 years at Illinois and now 2 outstanding years for the Commodores, and having a great day today. And it's been a big year for Keyshawn Vaughn.
Yeah, you talk about a big day, September 27th. That's the biggest day of Keyshawn Vaughn's life thus far, as he welcomed in his son, Keelan. And he's been playing not for himself since that day, that's for sure.
So we're at midfield. Keon Brooks now giving Vaughn a little rest, the tailback spot. Play action fake. Brooks stayed in the block, did a nice job. This is going to be launched downfield, and an outstanding catch made inside the 10-yard line by Kalijah Lipscomb.
And Lipscomb did a great job of getting the separation at the end. Play action pass, excellent pickup by the running back Kevin Brooks to give Riley Neal the time to make the throw. And then look at the little separation at the end, eye on the ball, the concentration, making another big play for the Vanderbilt
43 yards, and a good use of the hands by Lipscomb, also kind of pushing off a tiny bit.
A little separation. They allow a little bit of that stuff.
Well,
you just can't be flagrant.
It was an efficient standing right there, and he was satisfied with it. Fake to Brooks, Neal looking end zone, slant, touchdown. Really easy to Jared Pinkney. And Vanderbilt is starting to assert itself in this third quarter. Pinkney, his second touchdown of the season, both have come today.
That is vintage Riley Neal. That's the kind of throw he likes to make. An inside route. He can put a lot of pepper on it, which he's got plenty of that spice in his arsenal, and he just threw a dime right there to his big tight end.
Well, this was set up by the Neal to Lipscomb catch. And again, a little grab, but nothing serious, nothing blatant.
Good no call there, and Lipscomb shows you the experience and the technique and the things he has to make plays. And then how about the big tight end? Getting the inside position, and the big three is clicking today for Vanderbilt. This is what they expected from this group coming into the season. They just needed a trigger man to get him the ball, and today Riley Neal has been that trigger guy.
Such a difference. And of course it is obvious as you see that graphic how much those three mean, and that production just has not been there this year, as you said. And that drop off in offense from 2018, where they were a bowl team, to 2019, where they are going to be watching bowl games and not playing in them, is the biggest turndown for Vanderbilt this season. They just have not been that productive. They've gone through a stable of quarterbacks due to injuries. It just hasn't been offensively the kind of year they hoped for. They're getting some of that flushed out today, and they'll certainly feel good about themselves going into the big matchup with Tennessee next weekend. And Vandy is 17-0 run in this quarter. And that's a cup of coffee or some hot chocolate there for Derek Mason, because you can see steam coming out of that cup.
I bet it's more of a hand warmer than anything else.
It may be. Could be green tea, but whatever it is, it's not cold.
Chicken broth, from what we understand, right?
Taylor, do you have an idea what that might be?
Oh, guys, breaking news. It is actually chicken broth, and I know that because I was just offered some, and I took them up on it real quick. It's cold down here, guys.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's understandable.
We need to have someone run some up here.
Holmes on the handoff, and he is going to be brought down after a 1-yard loss.
And Reitmeyer is, when he gets right, now he's been injured a little bit, but when he's right, he is definitely all you want from a big defensive lineman. He is relentless in the way he attacks things.
9th tackle for a loss for the Commodore defense today. By the way, Tyler Rydell has returned to quarterback for ETSU. There he is. Easily identifiable by the extra little...
The flowing locks.
Yes, sticking out of the helmet there. Hangs in the pocket, fires, and safely caught.
Oh, they're going to say he dropped it.
Nope, incomplete is one call. The official came in late as the ETSU players were walking down to where they thought the ball was going to be. They're saying that Will Huzzy did not catch that.
Well, he caught one earlier this year.
Yes, SportsCenter top 10 catch. Number 1 SportsCenter top 10 catch after a game in October. So for Randy Sanders, his worst fears for this game are being realized. We go back in time a month. Watch this. Number 1, Will Huzzy with this grab against Chattanooga.
That's how you do it right there. Reach up with one big paw and snag it.
Look out. 10th tackle for a loss. Split that sack between McAllister and it might have been Birchmeyer.
I think Odangbo was in
it. No, it was Odangbo.
Well.
You're right. It was 10. Odangbo. That's 4th sack for Vandy, and it's another punting situation for the Bucks.
Odangbo came into this game with no sacks. He's making up for it today.
And Shelton Mosley, why not? He is very aggressive. And a little pushing and shoving afterwards. But don't see any flags being thrown. The officials are quick to intervene and break them up. And that'll stop the clock with 1 minute 28 seconds to go. Monday at 9, special time at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. We'll bring you Thinking Out Loud, presented by Regions Bank with Greg McElroy, Marcus Spears, and Alyssa Lang. They'll break down the weekend on the gridiron and talk about the hottest topics for the coming week on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. With Georgia winning and seemingly on their way to victory, all the focus now will shift to, of course, the Iron Bowl. And the conversation about what to do with Alabama
right.
and Georgia.
Should be interesting. It'll play itself out to some extent, that's for sure.
This is Brooks trying to run wide, and he just ran out of field. Out of bounds at around the 48-yard line. Quinn Smith was the closest to him and got a hand on him.
Quinn Smith has played well today, getting the start because Karan DeLintz is out with injury, so
he may be hurt. There's a ETSU player down, and it is Smith right in front of the Vanderbilt bench. So their athletic trainers were quick to jump out first until ETSU came out. And just as you were about to say, with Karan DeLintz out, Smith got the start. He has 5 tackles, and looks like he's, well, I don't want to say he's going to come back in a game, but now I think I can feel confident saying that.
Looks better. Yeah. And then Dylan Henderson, the redshirt freshman, has been the third corner to come in the game. And they'll bring him in to pick up the slack.
And you saw Coach Sanders tap him on the shoulder, Smith, and say, "You good?" And Smith, I think, will be returning to the match.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a few minutes to really decipher whether you're good or not after taking a hit.
Good point, but I don't want to be sitting on cold turf very long unless I can't get up.
That's a great point, too.
Neal guns it out there to Cam Johnson. Johnson spun around, and finally Henderson came up with that stop.
How about that? The new guy in the game. Let's go after him, and that's exactly what they did. A nice play call and tactic by Jerry Godowski, offensive coordinator.
will stay out. It's 3rd down and short.
They do have to snap it before the quarter runs out.
Brooks is still in the tailback. See if he gets the handoff here. They toss it to him. ETSU's waiting, and that looks like no gain to me. Multiple tacklers that time for the Buccaneers defensively. Olajuwon Pinkleton, 94, was one of them. Zach Yancey was another, and he did not make it. So a decision for Derek Mason. 4th down and short. Will they go for it or not? We'll have an answer for you when we return to Nashville.
Home of the New Year's Six and the College Football Playoff.
If they allow Ray Bentley in that meeting room in Texas, this is what you would tell him?
Yeah, that's how it should be right now. And I would be able to back up my case. However, it's still going to play itself out. But that's how I rank them. I like Alabama. I think they are in the top 4 for sure.
Even without Tua.
Yeah. Thought they showed it today, but we'll find out next week in the Iron Bowl.
So we begin the 4th quarter with Riley Neal on a quarterback sneak, and he will have the 1st down. And he gets to the 45-yard line, and getting a touch angry out there, but a little shoving after the play again. So Riley Neal gets him the 1st down.
Neal's a big kid, 6'6", 225 pounds. He should be able to push it forward for what they needed, and he was able to.
Hand off to Brooks. Kind of ran into his own man who was held up there. Manuel will get the tackle, but Austin Rowan is a guy who kind of ruined the play by jamming up the blocker. So it'll be maybe 2nd and 9.
Nice play by the defensive line, and then you're right, Manuel shows up and finishes the deal.
Take a good look there at Blake Bachrath, fine player for this Buccaneer defense. A little play action here for Neal. He wants to fire deep. He'll go to medium. Instead, it's dropped at the 30-yard line. In and out of the hands of Ben Bresnahan.
And Bresnahan's not going to like himself after that one, because that was a well-thrown football on another out-breaking route. The things that we talked about that Riley Neal loves to do. Throwing it to the edge. He's got a knack for that, and we've seen a ton of it today. Neal has responded to the reset. He's 14 of 22, a pair of touchdown throws, and he's really run this offense well this afternoon.
He also got one of the largest wristbands of any quarterback I have ever seen. It looks like a small iPad. 3rd and 9, pressure up the gut, hit as he throws, he gets it off. Catch made, and that could be a 1st down for Shelton Mosley. It is.
That is the most impressive play to me from Riley Neal all day. He feels the heat coming. He knows it's coming. He knows a big hit's coming, and he hangs in and delivers a throw anyway. And Bachrath did. He gave him what he thought was coming, that's for sure.
And you know what's cool about that is there's no flag for roughing, whereas in the NFL there might have been. And Bachrath did not do anything wrong.
Just good football.
Yes. Should leave it like that more often. Clean tackle. Brooks on the handoff, and that's going to be no gain. 2nd down and 10.
Austin Rowan, part of that hit. And his defense has played well today. I think, as we've said, they're overmatched a little bit. You have an SEC team going against an FCS team, but honestly, I haven't seen too many instances where there's a huge disparity. And that plays to the thing Randy Sanders told us, that his guys will fight and they'll play with heart. And they've done all that here today.
9th play of this drive coming up. And Neal's going to tuck. Not his first choice. He'll pick up a couple. 3rd down and 8.
Good coverage down the field. Really nowhere to go with the football. Just a two-man route out for Vanderbilt, and it was well covered by that Buccaneer secondary.
Randy Sanders, year 3 coming up next season. Final game, final quarter for ETSU this year. And they're on their way to finishing 3-9. They picked up their only conference win last week and a great thriller against Mercer in the Southern Conference. Pressure again. There was a clear hold, and now the flag finally came in. The center judge took plenty of time to decide whether or not that flag was going to be thrown, and it should have been thrown. I saw it from the press box.
Yeah. There was a stunt by the Buccaneers defensive line. I was watching a guy run circles all the way around, and that's where Neal ended up.
Number 77, 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Can you get holding twice on one play? Because that's what we just saw.
He had the other angle that I saw had the back of the jersey being completely held. You couldn't tell it was Backrath that was being held. Vanderbilt, that's their 4th penalty of the night. Would you like to guess how many penalties East Tennessee State has?
I'm going to go with not many.
How about 0? What about that?
That's not many.
That's as few as you. You've always been able to nail it right to the heart of the story, don't you?
I try to not to get too specific on you, but.
Go underneath, forget about it. Well read by Donovan Manuel. And when you put together your highlight reel for the 2019 season for ETSU, you pick up their 6th tackle for a loss tonight. That play by Manuel, the way he read that was fantastic.
Yeah, 5th tackle on the night for Manuel. And he's been all over the field making plays.
No reason for Vanderbilt to break that huddle until the last second. A lot of spin. That's the smart move. They fair catch that inside the 15-yard line. Well, Vanderbilt fans will be celebrating a victory, barring an unbelievable comeback by ETSU in the 4th quarter. Well, we are celebrating something else. Senior Day, and of course, my
good-looking kid.
Yeah, that's my partner Ray Bentley back in his Central Michigan days. That was his senior picture, and now he's just a senior. So this cake lovingly says you're old.
Well, they misspelled it. I'm gold. I'm
gold. With the telly pen? Oh man,
that's good stuff.
Yeah. Well, you can't spell gold without old, but happy birthday to my dear friend and my partner, Ray Bentley. I think I've spent more birthdays with you than your wife lately.
Yeah, I believe you have. We're always on the road this
and
time
she's
of year.
very happy about that.
No one's complaining really too much
your
about
house,
it.
no.
Not me, not her. So that's why it works so well. But thank you all very much. Hey, you only turned 59 once. And I'm taking that cake, by the way.
Yes.
No, Taylor. Well, yes, Taylor can have some of the cake.
In exchange for the broth. In exchange for the broth.
That's right. We'll make it.
I'm not giving up the broth, guys. No way.
All right, then we'll think about the cake.
Yeah, well, there might be some crumbs and some sprinkles left for you.
Oh, I just want a cake made out of icing.
I do have good news, Dave. Though they gave me a little fortune cookie thing, and my fortune is you are going to have a comfortable old age.
Oh, good.
So I have that to look forward to, which is nice.
That would be an upset.
Yeah, right. Well, I must not be old yet.
Hey, oh, you're not.
Because I'm not comfortable.
It's second and just a little bit coming up following that Jacob Sailors run. But thank you to everybody who hustled together to put that cake together. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, I was trying to slide by on this one, not have anyone know, and somebody told.
Jawan Martin will get the first down. Let's get in for more from our broth aficionado and our broth sommelier, Taylor Davis.
Wow, great names. I will take that for sure. Well, guys, this last quarter of football really holds a lot of importance for the seniors on both of these teams. As we've said, for Vanderbilt, it's senior night, so it's their last quarter of football at home. And for ETSU seniors, this is their last quarter of college football, as this is the last game on their schedule this year for the season. And really, both of these coaching staffs have admitted that this is not the season we expected to have this year. It's been really disappointing for both programs, but they're just encouraging their guys, hey, let it loose. Go out here and have fun this last 10 minutes.
Well, it brings us up, and Taylor, thank you, brings up
Game
Ray.
clock operator, please reset the game clock to 9:23.
That, by the way,
On the game clock.
was the first flag against ETSU today. Ray, we showed your senior picture from your days with the Chippewas when you played linebacker and you were all conference in the MAC.
Thank
and you've told me the story a couple times about what that last game was like for you.
Oh, it was amazing for me. We didn't have senior days back in my day, but it was the last game. We were on the road playing Northern Illinois, and I'll never forget the entire defense. We had a crazy group of guys, and when they were getting ready to do their cadence, we're all just screaming like crazy man, every play, the whole game, and it was so emotional. I cried like a baby after that one, and we lost, and we didn't have the season we wanted. But just the emotions and knowing that that's the last time you get to put it on a line with that group of guys that are family to you, and it means so much. And so I get emotional thinking about it, and it's a huge day for a lot of guys, one they'll always remember.
Second down and 15 coming up. And many of these players are also going to put on these uniforms for the last time in their lives.
Yeah. I was fortunate to play on, but you're right. That was the last game you'll ever play for a lot of these guys.
And you think of the ridiculously low percentage of people at the NCAA level who go on to play professional football. Something like 1 or 2%. Pitch out to Sailors. And he tried the stutter step, and it wasn't bought by Peart. Excuse me, that was not Peart. That was number 3.
All day.
Tate Daly, and shook him up a little bit. Looked like number 9 at first, but that was Daly who just wasn't buying the fake.
All day Tay making a play, but now he's getting out of there. It looks like the right shoulder. He's holding that right arm kind of down low a little bit, and they're going to have a look at him.
3rd and long coming up here for ETSU. Buccaneers afterwards will take the bus back to Johnson City, which sounds like a song we'll hear on Broadway later on tonight.
Know it. I wrote it.
Mitchell. What did they say? Meet at the quarterback with bad intent. That's exactly what happened. Mentz and Odangbo.
Odangbo, 3rd time he's been involved in a sack today, and that's just 2 guys on the outside edge, bull rushing their respective offensive tackles into him. I guess a meet at the quarterback, like you said.
Yep, that's the 5th time they've done that today. 5 sacks for the Commodores. That gives them 19 on the year. They only had 14 coming in. That's another reason. Now you look at, just if you're looking at raw numbers, is why there's been a little bit of a down year for the Commodores. 11 tackles for a loss. Well, that's a real corker. Cam Johnson just let that spinner go right by him. That would have been so hard to pick up. You couldn't have done that with a cesta.
A corker and a spinner. Wow.
NFL Primetime is back. Primetime's available Sunday through Wednesday only on ESPN+.
Delighted that has returned to the streaming world. And not returned to the streaming world, but is now back in the streaming world. And it's great fun. If you missed it, go get it. 7:16 remaining. And Vanderbilt in firm control of this football game with a football at their own 28-yard line. And Alan Walters is taking over at quarterback, redshirt freshman from New Jersey. An opportunity for a lot of reserves to get little action here in the final home game for the Doors before off they go to Knoxville next week. And they have dominated that series lately after it had been the other way around for a long time. Walters going to come out firing, and he hits The receiver at the 45-yard line, that's going to be Chris Pierce. And that is just the second completion for Walters this season.
And Walters one of 4 quarterbacks who have taken snaps for the Doors this season. And that's not always a good thing. In fact, it's hardly ever a good thing, but until the future, because you get young guys and they get their feet wet, and then when their time comes, they're not going into it cold. So there are some benefits you'll get out of playing a lot of young quarterbacks. Of course, you're usually forced to, and that's the problem.
They had Mo Hassan, Deuce Wallace, who had to start this year. It's been a difficult year at that position for the Commodores. This is Javion Marlowe. Nope, that's going to be to the 49-yard line. Marlowe, a redshirt freshman from Winter Haven, Florida, picks up 5. And Riley Neal, looks like his day will finish in a positive way. The Ball State grad transfer. He'll get a win, and he'll do it with 24 yards rushing, including a 27-yard gain, and most importantly, 16 of 24, and 2 touchdowns, no turnovers.
Yeah, the reset worked. I mean, he was very efficient today, effective, throwing the ball to the edges and the deep ball, and that's the kind of things they like to do with him, and he likes to do, obviously.
Good tackling that time by the Bucs defense is Zach Yancey finishing him off. So it'll be 3rd down. They're going to give him a yard or 2 forward progress. So 3rd down and 3 coming up here for the Commodores in the final 5.5 of this game. Colton Lakes also, we've mentioned his name quite a few times. Played very well. And Derek Mason can start getting ready for the in-state rivalry. And you take a look at the all-time series. Vanderbilt's won 5 of the last 7. They won last year.
3 in a row now.
Yep, 3 straight.
In fact, they've won 7 in a row in the state of Tennessee.
And Tennessee, depending on how things go today with Mizzou, could be playing for bowl eligibility in that game. That pass broke it up. We have Tennessee and Missouri on the SEC Network tonight, our Saturday night series. And on the alternate channel, we'll have Abilene Christian and Mississippi State. One of the other things that Derek Mason talked to us about several times, he must have used the term Vanderbilt man a half a dozen times, and the acronym RTI, relentlessness, toughness, and integrity, is something that he mentioned as well, as that's all over the walls of the Vanderbilt football offices. The fair catch at the 12-yard line, and East Tennessee State will get another crack at it, try to get on the board when we return. Yeah, it's not warm out. That kind of says it all. And you know what? If Marty or McGee were here, they'd be cold too. Wednesday at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, you'll find them indoors on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Southern Culture and Football. Those are your guys right there. The Vandy defense looking to keep this shutout on the board. And the final home game for some of these. And that man right there, Jason Tarver, who brought NFL experience here to Vanderbilt. Got to be pleased.
Yeah, he felt like they had a kind of a watershed-changing moment. They had a team meeting after their loss to UNLV, and they decided they weren't going to mess around anymore, and the players only, they got on each other and got it going, and the next week they upset Missouri, and they played pretty good defense against Florida, and they've kind of turned that thing around. He said he's seen the lights coming on, and they came out here in the second half as they've held this ETSU team to just 2 yards. Those are the first 2 positive yards of this half for this Buccaneer offense.
Look at that. That's unbelievable. So 98 total yards for the game.
And they shut down one of the guys we featured at the beginning, Dave, Quay Holmes. 9 carries, 8 yards for Holmes today. And Holmes had 255 last week. He executed the game plan to shut him down. Unbalanced line to the left. That's where they want to run. And it's not going to work. A big hit there by Elijah Hamilton. Number 15. And unfortunately, a Vanderbilt player shaken up.
Official's timeout for an injured player.
That's Brendan Harris, a redshirt freshman from Chattanooga, being attended to by the athletic training staff. We'll step aside. So Brendan Harris was able to get up, and he was escorted immediately into the locker room to look at his hand.
That's the right hand. His own teammate, Owasu, is going to step on it right there. Oh, baby, that's going to hurt, and that's why they got him out of here in a hurry to take him in and look at him. I tell you, I've suffered more injuries during my career from friendly fire from my own teammates when we're all trying to get the same guy. A lot of times you get there first. That's not always a good thing for you physically because everyone else piles on top and they hit you instead of the ball carrier. Of course, I got a few of them back from time to time, too.
Yes, they were your teammates, remember?
Well, they had it coming.
Very neat. Quarterback is Chance Thrasher, the former Chanticleer from Coastal Carolina.
Thrasher, the starter for the opener, got hurt in that opener, and that's when Trey Mitchell came in and got his shot.
So it'll be 4th down. So ETSU will end up 3-9 on the year. Vanderbilt's going to improve to 3-8 with 1 left.
And that'll be huge for Vanderbilt if they're able to knock off Tennessee next week, to have a couple of wins heading into the offseason. The coach is coming back. There'll be a lot of positive energy around this campus.
Well, we can definitely tell just talking to the coaches, instead of sounding like a bunch of guys who are worn out from a difficult season, this is going to be incredible field position here for Vanderbilt to finish out this game. The announcement from Malcolm Turner, the athletic director, that Derek Mason was definitely coming back next season. And there's going to be a commitment, and again, no amount of money was announced, nothing like that was announced, though any specifics were announced about what's going to happen in the future of trying to improve the facilities at Vanderbilt to get them caught up to where other schools are in the Southeastern Conference. There was the quote that we began our afternoon with. I want to make it very clear, Derek Mason will be our head football coach moving forward. Coach Mason has my full support, and I am committed to working with him to ensure our football program has the necessary resources and support to succeed. And again, we offered Malcolm a chance to expand on that, but he was not able to make it to our microphones today. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Mitchell Pryor getting a touch. Number 25 for the Doors.
Three guys that won't be back next year for this Vanderbilt team really impacted today's game. They call them the big three, and rightly so. Kalijah Lipscomb had a nice touchdown, or a long catch to set up a touchdown by Jared Pinckney, the tight end, with a pair of touchdowns. And then Keyshawn Vaughn's been running up and down the field all day.
We got a rainfall beginning again here in Nashville. Look at this. Touchdown for Mitchell Pryor, the sophomore. 31 yards for Pryor.
Every one of them blocked, Dave. That was a huge hole that Pryor shot through. No one even got a hand on.
Sophomore from Darien, Connecticut. Didn't play at all last season.
I take it back. One guy got a hand on him.
Yeah, that's about it. And he wasn't having any of that. And so on an afternoon and now an early evening, it looks like the Scottish moors around here now with this mist and wind. Or just all in out rain. And that's a moment for Pryor that he's not going to forget. And although he's not part of that big three, Ray.
They may be down the road.
Yep.
Because these are three seniors that have had wonderful careers here with the Commodores. Saw Kalijah Lipscomb make that play. And then we had a couple of touchdowns from the big tight end, who a lot of people think might be the top tight end taken in this coming NFL draft. And then Keyshawn Vaughn. Someone's going to get themselves a nice running back at the next level as well, because Vaughn will be out of here and on to greener pastures, i.e. the NFL.
And what they did today in this soon-to-be non-conference victory.
Great production. This is what they expected and anticipated coming into this season. And the issue wasn't necessarily the performance of these guys. It was getting them the football was really the biggest problem. Keyshawn Vaughn close to 1,000 on the season right now.
I think he's got it. Got 139 today?
Yes.
He had 876. He needed 124, so he's over 1,000.
Your math is better than mine. That's why I set you up with that.
Appreciate that.
Don't want me taking my shoes off to count.
I just don't want you taking your shoes off.
Not at all.
Might get frostbite today, though. It's 43 degrees, windy, rainy. Feels definitely colder than 43 today, but it's going to be a warm locker room for Vanderbilt.
Nothing warms you up like a victory, that's for sure.
Yep.
And some chicken broth, too.
Which we never got our shipment.
It's all right. I got cake to barter.
No turnovers in this game today at all, and 5 penalties. That's all. So cleanly played affair. And ETSU will get one last chance to penetrate the scoreboard. The SEC team will be back tonight after Tennessee-Mizzou on the SEC Network to recap all the games, highlights, analysis, interviews, and everything else. No one covers the SEC like we do. You can also see it streaming live on the ESPN app. Less than 90 seconds left. So Sailors gets a little bit more.
I like the move by Coach Randy Sanders of putting his senior quarterback in, Chance Thrasher, to get a little experience, or just finish his career. You know, he's a senior. He's given a lot to this program, although he did transfer in late. But as I said, he was a starting quarterback at the beginning of the season, and I like the way the coach will take care of his older players.
Now, second half total yards with another snap here, maybe 2 for ETSU. 276 total yards by Vandy. 9 for the Buccaneers.
Give that Vanderbilt defense a lot of credit. They had a plan coming in to shut down Quay Holmes, and that plan worked to perfection. And they got after the quarterback, 5 sacks on the day, and just made a lot of good football plays.
It's a shutout for Jason Tarver and his defense. And that will do it. Yeah, there's a big smile. Why not? He deserved it. That's a 0 on the board. Vandy gets the victory to get their 3rd win on the year, defeating East Tennessee State 38-0. And the Buccaneers season ends with a disappointment. Vanderbilt's got 1 to go against Tennessee. And they'll go in feeling a lot better about themselves, knowing they've got a stable future, the immediate future, and a tough opponent coming up in a difficult place to play.
And energy is so important, Dave, and they were re-energized, no doubt, by the announcement regarding Coach Mason. I mean, we could hear it in their voices, we could see it and manifested in their demeanors, and that's a huge thing. And now they got a victory coming off the heels of that. I believe they'll be ready to play against Tennessee next week. They're going to need to be, because Tennessee has turned their season around big time.
Yeah, they have improved without question, and that game coming up with Missouri tonight on the SEC Network is going to be fascinating to watch. So Derek Mason has stopped by for a chat with Taylor Davis.
Thanks, guys. Coach Mason, this season has brought its challenges. As you said, there's been a lot of outside noise. How has your team responded and get the final home win of the season tonight?
Well, I'm happy for my seniors. You know what? These guys deserve to go out on the last and home game, with a win. I thought guys played hard tonight, man. We gave ourselves a chance. When I looked at it, and believe me, these guys had a good week of preparation. They came out, man. They played solid football. I mean, there's things we can clean up, things we can get better at. But overall, we get a win. The Commodores win today, and now what we need to do is get ready to go into rivalry week.
Now, you brought up the seniors. Quite a big day for the big 3, Keyshawn Vaughn, Kalijah Lipscomb, and Jared Pinkney. I mean, when you look at what these guys have built during their time here at Vanderbilt, what can you say as their head coach?
Well, they're Vanderbilt men. I mean, they understand. I mean, they've played great football here. They'll leave behind legacies at their position, which is always what you want from really good players. But I think more than that, They've taught these guys, how to stay in the fight, how to continue to make sure that you try to work hard to master your craft. But more than anything else, just continue to make sure you anchor down, and that's what they did. They anchored down tonight, so now we move forward.
We saw that from them tonight for sure. Now you get the home win here on senior night. You look ahead to Tennessee. What did you see from your team tonight that has to carry forward?
Well, tonight, I thought this team made some things happen offensively. I thought we were able to keep some defensive momentum, after a slow defensive start, and special teams played well. And I think all those things have to happen. We got to be good on 3rd down. We have to make sure that when we throw the football, we can connect and move the chains. But more than that, score points when we need to score points.
Congrats on the win, Coach.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Taylor. For Ray Bentley and for Taylor Davis, happy birthday to Ray. And I'm Dave Lamont saying so long from Nashville, where the final score is Vandy 38, ETSU nothing. Now, let's get you to Dari and the guys in the studio.